The February 9th meeting of the Williamsburg City Council will come to order. Ms. Scott, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Zhang?
Here.
Mr. Pons?
Here.
Mayor Freiling?
Here.
Vice Mayor Foster?
Here.
Ms. Ramsey?
Here.
We have before us the council meeting minutes from January 12 and January 21, 2017, as well as the recent City Council retreat.
Move we approve the minutes.
Second.
Ms. Scott?
Mr. Zhang?
Aye.
Mr. Pons?
Aye.
Mayor Freiling?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Foster?
Aye.
Ms. Ramsey?
Aye.
We have no matters of special privilege today, so that will take us directly to our first public hearing and our only public hearing. Village Green North Townhouses at Quarter Path, partial vacation of easement. Ms. Shelton?
Mr. Mayor and members of council, at Village Green North Townhouses at Quarter Path, we have several properties that are encroaching into an existing easement. So we're trying to solve that problem, and it's the staff's recommendation that the easiest and most efficient way to resolve that problem is to vacate portions of the easement, which are shown on hash marks on the plat that you have in front of you. The city engineer has confirmed that there are no city utility services located in the area that staff proposes to vacate, and so it is staff's recommendation that council take this action in order to resolve the encroachment. I'm happy to answer any other questions that you have.
Any questions for Ms. Shelton?
No.
With that, we will open the public hearing. Anybody who would like to comment on this matter, please come forward and state your name and address. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and come back to council for comment and discussion.
Very straightforward.
I guess, was it a mistake?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess part of my thought is that, I'd hate for this to be an indication that a builder developer can make a mistake and ask for forgiveness later. And I don't think that that's necessarily the case here. That the city would automatically just say, we'll make the adjustment, because the other option is for them to tear down their porch, as I understand it.
Well, and I would say that the builder has moved cleanouts and has taken affirmative steps to try to assist with remedying the problem, so there has not been no consequence for that.
Mr. Zhang. Ms. Shelton, it's a hypothetical, so I know sometimes those are difficult to answer, but if that created a problem for city services or utilities, what would the city then do? Require the removal of the infringement?
Yes.
Given that, and since it creates no hardship for the city, it doesn't seem reasonable to me to create the hardship on the developer.
I move that City Council approve the proposed partial vacation of easement as shown on the proposed plat of easement vacation Village Green North Townhomes at Quarter Path Phase 1 and Phase 2A, Lots 77 through 98, and authorize the city manager to execute the appropriate deeds to effectuate the vacation.
Second.
Ms. Scott?
Mr. Zhang?
Aye.
Mr. Pons?
Aye.
Mayor Freiling?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Foster?
Aye.
Ms. Ramsey?
Aye.
This brings us to reports, monthly financial statement. Mr. Collins.
I'd just like to point out that sales tax remains strong at 3% plus over budget. Mills is approximately 1% above budget estimates. Rooms still tracking approximately 1% below, and we're continuing to monitor those closely through the slow season at this point, but just keep letting you know we're keeping an eye on that. Expenses are tracking along with the budget year after 7 months. Happy to entertain any questions you might have. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Monthly departmental operating reports. Anything you'd like to highlight?
Staff's here if you have any questions.
Okay. Just moving right along. City manager reports. Parkway Drive Sidewalk Award of Bid. Mr. Clayton.
Mayor, members of City Council, one of our capital improvement projects for FY17 is constructing a sidewalk along Parkway Drive from Capitol Landing Road to the existing sidewalk at Wyndham on the Parkway subdivision. The length of the proposed sidewalk is 1,530 feet. The sidewalk extension fills the gap in Capitol Landing Road and 2nd Street and benefits the Northeast Triangle area, and in particular tenants of the International Housing Village and residents of Wyndham neighborhood. 2 years ago, we installed a sidewalk on Parkway Drive between Bypass Road and Capitol Landing. So this essentially will fill the gap all the way from Bypass Road to 2nd Street. The work includes a 5-foot wide concrete sidewalk, curb and gutter to provide some separation between the pedestrian and the travel lane, some necessary drainage along with the grading and slope stabilization. The work will be performed between February and the May timeframe. We had a lot of interest in the project. We received 7 bids from contractors ranging from Norfolk to Richmond. The prices ranged in round figures from $236,000 to $369,000. The low bidder was Pembroke Construction out of Hampton, Virginia at $236,688. We are familiar with Pembroke Construction, and they're qualified to perform the work and have had a lot of experience working in the city. The bid is within the budgeted funds of $275,000, and with council support, we look forward to moving on the project. Any questions? I'll be glad to answer.
No questions.
Questions?
Thank you, Mr. Clayton.
Yeah.
I'll just make a comment. I know that as we've done the increasing the connectivity among the existing sidewalks that we have, we started with the easier projects because our money would go farther and we could create more of those connections. And this strikes me as a somewhat difficult area because of the slope on either side and the lack of shoulder. And as someone who spends a lot of time on foot on that particular stretch of road, I can tell you that there's not even space on the side of the road in certain places to get off of the road if a vehicle comes by. So it's dark, it's a turn. I think this is a really important project, and thanks very much to staff for putting
The price per foot is a little bit heavy, but it's because of the very things you mentioned. It's a very difficult sidewalk to build.
And it's just glad that the residents in that area will have a safe way to get along that road.
I've always been impressed at the amount of foot traffic that's on there, and you can kind of see that path along that road. So it's definitely something that's been needed.
Alrighty, I move that City Council award the contract and authorize the city manager to execute an agreement with Pembroke Construction Company Incorporated for the construction of Parkway Drive sidewalk for $236,688.
Seconded.
Ms. Scott?
Mr. Zhang?
Aye.
Mr. Pons?
Aye.
Mayor Fryling?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Foster?
Aye.
Ms. Ramsey?
Aye.
City Attorney report?
Nothing else today.
Thank you, Ms. Shelton. Unfinished business? Seeing none. New business? This takes us to open forum. We have one speaker's card today, Mr. Gary Shelley.
I'm Gary Shelley. I live at 205 Indian Springs Road. I'm glad I got here on time today. I spoke here in open forum last month, and I requested a response to a particular concern, missing minutes from a council retreat that the council was legally required to provide to the public. I have spoken about this issue on several occasions, and I will not go into the details again. My concerns have not yet been addressed. They continue to be, 1, why didn't the council provide this legally mandated document? 2, does the document that was belatedly inserted into our official records satisfy FOIA requirements? And 3, why has the city repeatedly failed to respond to this issue in spite of specific requests? So, Mr. Mayor, I ask that you take a minute or so at this time to address these concerns. If you prefer, you may send me a letter, email, telephone, or you're welcome to come to our house to discuss. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Shelley. Anybody else wish to address council? Seeing no one, who will close the open forum. I believe we have some items of business for closed session.
That we do. Move we go into closed session pursuant to Section 2.2-3711 of the Code of Virginia for the purpose of discussing 2 personnel matters per subparagraph 1 concerning appointments to boards and commissions, and 3 legal matters per subparagraph 7 for the purpose of consultation with legal counsel and briefing by staff members, consultants, or attorneys pertaining to actual or probable litigation concerning zoning enforcement, or consultation on specific legal matters requiring provision of legal advice by counsel concerning contract to purchase real property.
Second.
Ms. Scott?
Mr. Zhang?
Aye.
Mr. Pons?
Aye.
Mayor Fryling?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Foster?
Aye.
Ms. Ramsey?
Aye.
Since our open session was not particularly arduous today, perhaps we could go directly into closed session without taking a break? Thank you.